Hi everybody, this is Pam from the Paper Outpost, and I'm doing a journal flip through today of my journal called The Book of Mystery. Ooh. Just completed her a little while ago, and she's ready to take a peek at. I have wrapped her in some swaddling seam binding that has been colored, multicolors. Just give you a close-up look at that. It's so pretty. And I've covered her in an eco-dyed fabric that I made a little while ago, saving it for a special project, and here she is. And she's embossed on the front with a raised area, a raised emblem, as well as across the top and across the bottom. And she is approximately 6 by 9 with a 2.5 inch spine. So let's go inside and take a deeper peek. So the story behind the Book of Mystery is that she was a book that was found deep in the forest in the hollow of an old tree wrapped in an old cloth. Nobody knows her origin, but let's see if we can go through and find some clues. All right, let me zoom in a little bit. Zoom. Okay. All right, so we open her up, and this is what we see. We see a linen lining, very soft. I always include a little about this journal, little story that I put here. Explains how to use the journal, how different people use it, different ideas. And I make use of a lot of old book pages, music paper, dictionary pages, books from pages from old books, children's books. Made a little booklet there. Here is a journaling card made with extra journaling space. Here is a 1905 piece of vintage ephemera from the Philadelphia Reading and Railway Company. Beautiful piece. Here's a lovely handmade envelope with a really neat wolf button on the front. And inside this, we have this lovely vintage photograph of a woman in the forest. A beautiful dress. Is she the owner of the book? We don't know. This is a tag made out of book pages, vintage book pages, and I put some gesso on here so you can write on it. Some botanical coffee dyed pages from a book. Here's a corner tuck spot with some ephemera. This is a little fabric covered tearaway book. You can either use this to journal on or to add little pieces of paper throughout the journal as you see fit. Some more coffee dyed paper, and there are many quotable quotes dispersed throughout. Here's a little envelope made out of book pages, and this is made out of an index card covered in fabric. And there's a little tag in here as well. An inspirational tag with quotes on it. And this is some vintage wallpaper. Love the feel of that. Has great texture. There's stamping and lots of coffee dyed pages. And here's a lovely old letter. Perhaps this holds the secret to whose book this is. This is dated 1860. Made a little bookmark here, sewed around it, and put a flower on top and tucked it in this little pocket. You can also use it as a tab to mark a spot in the book. There's a collage page, a Leonardo da Vinci page with a little metal charm, moon and stars. Here's a handmade envelope with washi and lace and stamping and a vintage Victorian tag inside. More collaging on the page. Collage paging, new term. Here's some bus tickets from Thailand. Here is a collaged paper bag with some Yugoslavian money in it. Maybe she needed some money, so she had to stash it away in the forest. Here's a lovely picture of a lady holding, I think it's a pie. I'm not sure. From 1933, and here is an embossed envelope, glassine envelope with a little piece of old vintage newspaper inside. Love to read the old newspapers. It's really a sign of the times when you read the stories back then. Some are not all that different from today, and some are very different from today. Some old wallpaper paper again. More coffee dyed papers, and here's a lace tag. Another tearaway page. Here's a little homemade tag. All right, yep, in there. Okay. This is a fabric pocket. I put some, this is from an old book. And some journaling cards in there. Here's a little handmade paper clip backed onto canvas, and little fabric bits and pieces sewn around with gold thread. This is an vintage tuna casserole recipe. Correct, said Alice. Gotta love that. And here is, I put in a hard plate in here so that you could put this under any page if you wanted to do some extra journaling on it. These are some of my reproductions of my watercolors that I have placed in here. Some old music paper, great color on that. Here's a fabric tag. Different textile feel. Always fun to have different things in there. Here's some coffee dyed paper and a little upper tuck sold with some gold thread. Some stamping, some tracing paper. I made some eco prints from some plant material around my home. Backed it with some, collaged with some cheesecloth, some bird images from some old vintage birding books. So just going through the book, it's this particular focus was to give the eye something different to look at on every page, not knowing what to expect. Something different, double pocket made out of envelopes here, lots of different types of tags used, more old book pages used for tags. And here's an old vocabulary translation from Latin to English. And I am fascinated by Latin for some reason. And here's a little tiny book made out of just some book pages. Stamped, inked up, and tucked in. And this is an